different leadership activities, and these will give you the skills that you will need to employ once you may or may not be accepted into the Youth Advisory Council in early January. So before we listen to Councilwoman Hoppe give an opening speech, I want to give you an idea, like a short history of the Youth Summit and the Council so far. So I had the idea to create a Youth Advisory Council back in 2011 in the 8th grade, but initially it wasn't for Columbia, but for a United States Council. So I took it to my Triple E teacher, Mr. Lechman, but he suggested that I start a little smaller and then and build my way up. So the idea is that this council will inspire a council in other cities and then in other states, and then finally the United States, hopefully. So the idea behind the Youth Advisory Council was that I often saw many of my very intelligent peers who have extremely creative ideas, but they weren't really being utilized outside of the classroom setting, and so they weren't having any lasting effects within the community. And I thought this was a shame to let all of that go to waste. So the council will be able to take those ideas and bring them to fruition, and we will be able to do that through writing and proposing legislation to City Council. I feel that I should thank the Future Problem Solvers members for helping me get this far to this day. The Youth Community Coalition leaders for giving me the encouragement and funds needed to start it. Members of City Council for doing the same. And finally, my teacher, Mr. Lechman, who inspired me to pursue my ideas and to go further than that which I thought was my limit. So now I'd like to introduce Councilwoman
Hoppe. It's great to be here today, and it's great to see all of you here today. I'm really excited about this. I've been on the City Council for 9 years, and I'm the Mayor Pro Tem, and I've attended the National League of Cities conferences throughout the United States for most of those years. And one of the things I have been exposed to is the various youth commissions that are in other cities that actually attend the National League of Cities. And I've talked with them and done presentations, and I've been really excited about trying to get a youth advisory commission for the City Council. We deal with lots of issues that affect youth, and youth should have a say in and input in what affects youth, what can help youth. And for example, we have the Violence Task Force Commission that has been working for the last year on violence-related issues, and some of those, how it affects youth and how youth are involved in that. And if we had a youth advisory task force, we could have had youth beyond that commission, like some representatives from the task force. The task force could bring their input and ideas to that commission and interact with other commissions, and then give input to the City Council. Transit, jobs, after-school activities, those are just some ideas of where youth can have input, but I'm sure you all have other ideas. So the idea of an advisory youth council or youth commission is so council can say, would you look at and give suggestions to us about these issues? But it also is an opportunity for the Youth Advisory Council to bring issues and say, we want to work on this, this is important, and this is how we want to do it. So it's a two-way process. And many, many cities in the United States have youth commissions. Hopefully, if we get one started, eventually some of the representatives will actually be able to go to the National League of Cities and interact with mayors and other council members and hear from other youth in large cities like Seattle and Chicago and Louisiana and small communities too. So I'm just really excited and pleased to see so many people. And I'll just mention, we were working on this, Ian Thomas, who represents the Fourth Ward, and I started meeting with the public school system and some of the counselors and the board, talking about the possibility of a youth advisory commission. And then we learned that simultaneously, Sloan was promoting it and working on ideas, so we sort of merged the two together, and then Sloan took off on the leadership of it. So I really appreciate you guys taking time to do this. I hope it's exciting and enjoyable, and it's an opportunity to really have input in the future and to shape your city. So thank you so much for being here.
All right. Well, it's so fun to see so many happy and smiling faces so bright and early on a Saturday, right? So you guys have overcome the law of inertia, and you're now here, and you should commend yourselves. I don't know if you know it or not, but Columbia, this is not Columbia's first rodeo with Youth Advisory Council. The last time that we saw a Youth Advisory Council in Columbia was back in the 1980s, so it's been a while. But yeah, I should probably introduce myself, right? I just assume everybody knows who I am. I'm Matt Lutchman. I'm the Gifted Education Specialist at Battle High School, but more than that, I worked with many of the students who are in the room now for several years. This is our 4th year together. I worked at West Junior and Oakland Junior, and we participate in something that's called Future Problem Solving. Future Problem Solving is an international problem-solving organization. We have over 100,000 kids from all over the world who come together each year. We learn a systematic approach to problem solving, and then we internalize that habit of thinking. So by coming today, what you've done is you've exposed yourself to an opportunity to learn a systematic approach to thinking. And when we talk about a systematic approach to thinking, I'm not talking about sitting down and writing out a bunch of stuff till your hand gets cramped, right? We did that too. But what we're talking about is we're talking about watching the change that you envision occur as you slowly, incrementally take the steps necessary to make your vision a reality. And so that's what we see the Youth Advisory Council as, ultimately. We see you as a core group of young people who will represent your peers, who will represent the city of Columbia, and who will begin to understand what it means to become part of civic engagement in your community. We're really good as human beings at problem finding. You know, if you walk down the hallway in any high school, and really anywhere, you will hear plenty of complaints, right? I mean, you'll hear people talking about how this teacher does this, and how I can't believe this person did that, and what we don't do well as human beings is focus on solutions. And that's what the Youth Advisory Council's mission is. It's to begin not only identifying problems and problem finding, but being able to identify solutions that we have and then carry those solutions out. So the vision is that we wanted to cast our net as far and as wide as we could. You are the people who were interested. We needed people who had that spark, who had that vision inside of them. They wanted to be change, not just be part of the complaint, but be part of the solution. Ultimately, we would like to take a core group of students and teach them not only some of the problem-solving techniques that we apply and some of the creative thinking techniques that we apply, but also teach them leadership. And this is ultimately going to be an opportunity for you to become that leader. So our vision from here today, what we're going to do, you'll see that there are tables all around. Those tables are numbered. You're at those tables. We're going to do a series of team building and leadership activities. And we're going to be observing everyone in that environment. We're going to be watching how you interact with each other. We're going to be watching if you're someone who watches, or if you're someone who engages, or if you're someone who takes leadership. And we need all of those roles, right? There's not any one bad role. It's not like we can't have 100 leaders jumping in and trying to take control from everyone. So we'll go through the activities. In the end, well, we'll eat. That's always good, right? We'll have some pizza, and we'll kind of have some social time. And then ultimately what we'll do is we'll pare this group down to that central group that will become the Youth Advisory Committee. We have a leadership summit planned for sometime in early 2015. We may be able to kick it off earlier than that, but we're talking about possibly working with MU and doing some of the ropes course stuff and starting to build your cohesion as a team. And then the real work will begin. Then we can start to consider some of the issues that our elected officials are considering. We can pour our insight and what we know and our creativity that comes from youth into those ideas, and then create proposals where we say, this is kind of where we stand as a group and how we see things, so that they can take that feedback and they can go and they can then use that to inform their decision-making process. So it really is a key place to be. I mean, this is, as far as young people in Columbia goes, you will become the movers and shakers. And that is an honor in and of itself.